Are you doing all three? And then don't forget about phytoceramides. Well, this is something that I always feel like Andrew does this for me. Whether you have to take, there are certain medications that I have to take for, particular issues, inflammatories and the like, and I do have to have liver tests, and I feel like I'm the poster child for this. I am certainly not unique, though, because whether it's a cold medication or an allergy medication or an anti-inflammatory, even things that we think are innocuous, Andrew, our poor little livers, they have to do all that dirty work, don't they?
There's no drug or medicine that's innocuous. They all need to be respected, and they all burden our liver. Even our diet, I always say, if you never take a medicine, you never drink alcohol, and you have the healthiest diet in the world, your liver is still the hardest working organ in your body. But the reason I didn't just do this for you, Shannon, the reason I did this also is in a moment we're going to be talking about Daniel Amen's book, which Daniel Amen's book is the most timely book to have available now after what we've all been through the last year or so. We'll talk about it in a moment. But phosphatidylcholine is not just the predominant phospholipid in our liver. It's also Mother Nature doing her multitasking. It's also the most predominant phospholipid in our brain. So phosphatidylcholine is incredibly important for our liver, for our brain. It does double duty. So for those of us taking medications who want to say a little thank you to our liver, or for those of us who want to recognize that the last year has been challenging for all of us. And so it's an opportunity to perhaps give a little something to your brain to support that organ is that responsible for how we move through the world. And certainly, in a moment, we'll be talking about Daniel Amen's book. But phosphatidylcholine is an ingredient that I know he shares my view that it's an incredibly important ingredient given its structural role to our brain. And as I say, we think about this in terms of our joints. We think about this, obviously, because as the structure of our joints is healthy, our joints work better. The same goes for our brain. As we care for the structure of our brain, we have a brain that's going to function better on our behalf. So we can't neglect the structure of our brain. We can't neglect the structure of our liver, two incredibly hard-working organs.
Absolutely. Boy, I hope you read those reviews. I mean, I've got my own personal passionate testimonial that we don't have time to get into, but we certainly can share great savings regardless of what size you choose.
Incredibly economical.
Very economical. And, that's just it, Andrew. It's a 4.6 star average, and certainly it's not obviously a license for bad behavior or cure or treatment, but life on this planet just dictates that we're forcing our bodies to work harder than, harder than ever, maybe.
Well, our heart basically has an easy job. Our heart gets to pump blood throughout our body all the time. Our liver is basically having all that blood pumped through it constantly, but it has to work on that blood. It has to filter that blood. It's engaging in fat metabolism, cholesterol metabolism. It's removing all sorts of toxic contaminants that are present in our environment that enter our body. It's just the protein metabolism. The liver is without question the hardest working organ in our body. And phosphatidylcholine is the principal structural molecule. And when we look at our liver, it might be about the size of a football, but if you unfolded all the membrane surface area in our liver, I think it ends up being about 8 football fields. So it's enormous. And of those 8 football fields, those membranes are comprised about 5/8 of them are phosphatidylcholine. And then, of course, phosphatidylcholine is the principal phospholipid in the brain. It also can be used to make the most important neurotransmitter in the brain. So it's just an incredibly important molecule. It's incredibly affordable as well. In the large size, it's a little bit more than a dime a capsule. So it's a great opportunity to make a difference for the 2 of the hardest working organs in the human body.
Absolutely. And again, time does not permit to read all the reviews, but a lot of people, and again, it's not a license for bad behavior and it's not a cure or treatment, but a lot of people do talk about seeing a difference in their liver enzymes and in tests and, just a measurable difference. It's amazing what happens when we give the body what we need, isn't it?
No. If I were someone who is taking medications that I know affect my liver, whether it's anti-inflammatory drugs, whether it's antidepressants, whether it's cholesterol-lowering drugs, it's important to acknowledge your liver and the hard work it's doing. And this is a straightforward structural molecule. So it's what your liver uses when your liver is constantly repairing, regenerating, maintaining its structure. It's not something that doesn't change. The liver changes and is constantly repairing and regenerating itself. It does so best when it's provided with the raw material it needs to do that work.
Absolutely, no kidding. Again, those reviews are pretty emotional, to say the least. I hope you try it. We all try to do our best in life, and this helps us as well. Nice to get that savings as well. So economical when you consider the critical function that our liver plays in absolutely every aspect of breaking down all those toxic debris in our bodies, to say the least of which our brains can benefit. And I know Andrew's going to do a nice little introduction to that fabulous conversation with Dr. Amen. But Andrew, what a wonderful day. I'm glad that you added this because,
Thanks,
you know,
Janet.
there are a lot of us out there who just really want to do our utmost best, and these are the tools to help us do that, aren't they?
Now, we pay attention to what everyone's asking for, so it was about time that cruciferous veggie extracts, fruitful antioxidant extracts, and green foods graduated to become a Today Special. And the response, obviously, it was good that we listened to everyone because everyone was eager to get their hands on it at the best pricing ever. And in the 600 serving, that's the free powder that you can mix in with beverages or foods. So it was an exciting opportunity.
It was indeed. So as Andrew is just reminding you, remember that today's special pricing does expire at midnight, whether it is the ceramides, whether it's cruciferous, fruitful, or the green foods. So all that pricing does expire. Monthly special pricing, certainly take advantage of this. I mean, chances are you're making your liver work harder than you maybe even realize. And then what two of the hardest working men in show business or in mental health and good health, and I'll use that as a poor analogy, but Andrew, I hope someday I get the opportunity to meet Dr. Amen. I